This is Part 2, Episode 154. The beasts had extremely low intelligence, something that only the special environment of Demon Mountain could create. They only existed to kill the intruders. Hence, when they saw a human suddenly appear in the plaza, they naturally went into a frenzy. Howl. Ang. The beasts became blurred images and rushed towards Luo Feng, wanting to tear him to shreds. And the human Luo Feng that appeared beside the ice bear had rushed straight towards the entrance the moment he appeared. His Domain Lord Level 9 Cloud Contact Vine covered foot stomped the ground, and with a bang, the ground around the plaza shook, and he became a shooting star that rushed towards the entrance. As he rushed, a large group of angry beasts howled and chased behind him. Rumble. The black long rod suddenly appeared, just that one. At the entrance, the tall and sturdy stone gorilla wielded the thick black long rod like a baseball player. He created whirlwinds as he waved it. Peng. 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 Powerful ice beasts were immediately shattered, as large amounts of ice shards scattered far into the distance and knocked right out of the white light. Howl. The beasts all stared fiercely at Luo Feng, madly rushing towards him. However, the stone gorilla stood at the entrance, his aura strong and firm. No matter how many came, it didn't matter. These beasts are really stupid. Standing there and gazing at the large amounts of beasts rushing over, Luo Feng exclaimed. The moment they saw me, they all madly rushed over. Even after knowing there's no hope, they still try. Luckily the light protects the palace, making the trillions of beasts outside unable to enter. At that time, the plaza was left with nothing but broken ice shards, with only one beast remaining, the ice bear. All the other beasts were smashed by the stone gorilla after they madly rushed the entrance. The palace was tall and majestic, almost like a mountain. Luo Feng seemed small within. This is the inheritance palace, where do I accept it? Luo Feng was dressed in the silver armor outside and cloud contact vine armor within. He carefully treaded within and examined the huge palace. There was a large amount of black fog. In the distance, the black stones occasionally condensed and then melted and dissipated. The stone gorilla looked at Luo Feng, hugging his black long rod, and stopped moving in his corner. How strange. Luo Feng looked at the scenery filled with black fog. Barbata, have you discovered the mystery of this place? Unable to detect. My scanning signal has been completely jammed. Barbata said. What? Luo Feng was shocked. Barbata's scanning device was extremely expensive, even though its area was small, at only 20 kilometers. It was something Hu Yangbo had used in dangerous secret regions. It was usable in many secret regions. However, within this inheritance palace, the signal was jammed. Rumble. A booming sound could be heard. Within the palace, rumbling occurred within the black fog area, after which a mysterious sound could be heard, Ang, Chang, Wu. The combination of the sounds formed a very mysterious noise, making Luo Feng feel incredibly comfortable. This is it. Luo Feng thought. Back when he saw the 32 palaces, he heard this sound. The sound reverberated throughout. The palace changed greatly. A broken piece of black stone suddenly floated before him with peculiar words. The strokes were similar to the engravings earlier. Luo Feng didn't recognize the words at all. This. He was shocked as he looked at the mysterious words on the stone. I've never even seen these words before, yet I can clearly understand what they mean. It's unbelievable. The words continued to appear and disappear. After a while, Luo Feng finally understood all of what it said. Demon Note General. Inheritance. 157,672. His eyes were filled with shock. The mysterious words that appeared on the stone, in summary, said this. Since the birth of this Demon Note Inheritance Forbidden Land, you are the 157,672nd, who has come to receive this. Those that have the right to receive the Demon Note Inheritance. Any life form with a soul can receive it. However, since the birth of this place, none have ever completely received the full inheritance, receiving the title of Demon Note General. Demon Note General, be it flesh and blood life form, energy, metal etc., the main thing is that life must have a soul. Anyone can become a valuable Demon Note General. Demon Note General, unique and unmatched. Since the birth of the universe, it's been set that there would only be one. When the time actually comes that one is able to completely receive the full inheritance, becoming a Demon Note General, this entire forbidden land will crumble. Puny life form. Work hard. Work hard to become a Demon Note General, follow the inheritance steps on the side, slowly climb the path to becoming an absolute warrior in the universe. In the palace. The black mist rumbled about, that mystical sound reverberated throughout the huge palace. Simultaneously, the changes that kept occurring within the palace produced a 3-li-wide black stone staircase. At the end of the black mist, every flight had peculiar engravings, glowing gold. Human Luo Feng stood before the stairs and was silent for a while. Demon Note Official. Any life form, as long as he has a soul, has the right to become a Demon Note Official. Luo Feng looked at the mysterious stairs that formed from the parted black mist, feeling awe within. The universe was mysterious. This, Luo Feng had known before. The human race had a total of 1,008 universe countries, every one of them incredibly vast. The leaders of these countries were invincible and eternal beings, and there were even more powerful beings that created the virtual universe. However, humanity was but one of the trillions of races in the universe. However, it was one of the top. There were a few pinnacle races, and also some that may not be considered pinnacle, but were in fact very strong, like the Mosha clan. In terms of clan strength, it was probably in the top 10,000. Like the Golden Horned Beast, in terms of strength it ranked one of the top. However, their numbers were simply too little, but that didn't mean they were weak. Trillions of races. Endless universe. Countless secret areas. Demon Note Inheritance. Who left it? Luo Feng looked about, seeing the words of that displayed earlier. The touch of humans here is very obvious. Obviously it was left behind by some great being. From what I know, Demon Mountain had been here long before the Virtual Universe Company had taken control of the Absolute Beginning region. Demon Mountain's history was extremely ancient, just like Blood River World. The universe's secret regions were very mysterious. Some were naturally formed environments, however Absolute Beginnings would leave behind their palaces and training grounds, etc. These beings may have controlled parts of the entire secret region even before the virtual universe had taken over. Only against the might of the virtual universe, they chose to back off. Any resistance would be crushed by the huge power of the virtual universe. However, the absolute beings of the universe, even though they back off before the virtual universe company, it didn't mean they were weak. From what I heard from the two Undyings earlier, the virtual universe would arrange for large amounts of Undyings to be stationed in Demon Mountain. Many thoughts ran in his mind. Even Barbata didn't even know anything about the mysteries of Demon Mountain. Obviously, this secret belongs only to the upper echelon of the universe, even more mysterious than Primal Chaos City. Demon Note General. This inheritance forbidden land, the moment one life form completes the inheritance, the entire space would crumble. Demon Note General, there's only one in the universe. Luo Feng nodded. From what it sounded like, there would only be one in the entire universe. He would indeed be an absolute warrior in the universe. There's actually been hundreds of thousands who've come before, yet no one has actually completed. Luo Feng shook his head, not thinking anymore. With a step, he reached the mysterious staircase. When his boot landed on the first flight, immediately the surrounding scenery grew hazy. Luo Feng couldn't see the scenery around him anymore, only the never-ending staircase ahead. Simultaneously, mysterious information began to permeate his mind. Accept the inheritance. Train in the inheritance. Every level will bring new information. When you reach the end of the stairs, you'll become a great being of the universe. Demon Note General. The voice rumbled in his mind. The mysterious training methods continuously flooded in. In an instant, Luo Feng was subdued by the techniques. This was a soul technique. One needed a soul to train in terms of its wonders. Compared to the soul imprint his teacher, Hu Yangbo had left behind for him, it was many times clearer. The two couldn't even be compared. I feel that this nameless inheritance technique is comparable to the 9-universe tablet. The tablet entices people to study it, and this is a completely detailed technique. Just this one technique alone is priceless. Luo Feng was excited. His eyes gleamed strongly. In his mind he had the Golden Horned Beast's inherited memories, and he had seen the treasure trove of the Virtual Universe Company, countless techniques from everywhere. And because his perspectives were wide, he could instantly deduce. This mysterious technique definitely belonged to the highest of inheritance, an inheritance along with the universe laws and paths itself. In an instant, he was completely immersed in the training of the technique. It wasn't just his earth body, the Golden Horned Beast in the internal world too began to train simultaneously. Only the Mosha clan remained helpless and silly, because this belonged to a kind of soul special technique, and the Mosha clansman was unable to train it. Just who left behind this technique? Such a terrifying technique. If I can make progress in it, becoming an eternal and invincible being in the universe definitely wouldn't be an exaggeration. Luo Feng didn't think much more about it. He suppressed his mad glee and completely immersed himself in the training. Virtual universe, especially open space. Howl. Completely green dragons snaked through the space, ang. The beautiful 7-colored wings could be seen everywhere, within this huge space. With a glance, one could spot tens of millions of different types of mystical beasts, some beautiful, some violent. Tens of millions of beasts flew about. A completely red majestic group of palaces floated in mid-air, within one of them. A tall and sturdy man, with a single silver horn covered in purple armor fiercely slammed the wine glass in his hand. The translucent glass flew hard onto the floor and burst apart. The man's expression was struggled, his eyes like two eternal burning stars. He raged and roared, "How do they think that I'm a pushover? I've waited so long for the Demon Note Mountain inheritance, for my student Mist Emperor to get a chance, and you are telling me it's gone." Knight. An old white-haired man bowed and said, "It's not that it's gone, but he'll have to wait for the next batch." Next batch. Bullshit. The silver-horned man roared, "Each batch of the Demon Note Mountain inheritance is 10,081 eras apart. And every batch has at most 32 people. I spent so much treasure and invested so much. Finally I got picked and acquired a slot. But you are telling me, there's an anonymous unknown life form that took one of the 32 palaces, and you lack one slot. How is it my business there's one lacking? Why take away my student's chance? Why not take away others?" The silver-horned man was incomparably angry. Knight. The white-haired old man bowed. When the ballot was cast, Mist Emperor was the 32nd, right at the back, hence the people above decided. Get out, get out." The silver-horned man violently waved. The white-haired old man bowed, not daring to speak anymore. He turned and left immediately. The silver-horned man's expression was struggled. For a knight like him, one of the great eternal beings of humanity, there was hardly anything that made him feel cheated, but this time. The great union, those bunch of punks, they took my gifts and favors, and now they all act all righteous, taking away my student's opportunity. The man was filled with hatred, however he was clear that since they made the decision, there was no use in him raging. Just who is it? Who took my student's slot? The man raged. Demon Note inheritance. It was tens of millions of times more valuable than the chance to study in the Primal Chaos City, because the Primal Chaos tablets were after all for people to study and comprehend the laws. The Demon Note inheritance, however, was a solid, incredibly detailed training method. As long as one followed the training, his powers would grow by leaps and bounds. Wait till the next batch. 10,081 eras later. The silver-horned man got angrier the more he thought about it. His disciple Mist Emperor was an emperor undying. To become a knight was extremely difficult. However, through the Demon Note inheritance, on a certain level of degree, it would greatly increase his chances of becoming a knight. Right now he didn't know who took his student's chance, making him wait over 100 million years. The pinnacle beings and their matters, Luo Feng definitely didn't know. He only knew he had to grab his opportunities and go train. Within the Inheritance Palace, Inheritance Staircase. Luo Feng had been standing on the first level for a day already. He closed his eyes and stood on the black stone stairs, in his mind his spirit energy constantly training the inheritance technique. This nameless powerful technique shall be temporarily called the Supreme Demon Note Manual. This Supreme Demon Note Manual, according to the information that Luo Feng received from the first flight, was mainly split into two parts. One was basics. Two was the Demon Note technique. Of which the basics portions 99% was mostly making a solid foundation. Once that was done, the Demon Note technique would be easy to train. The basics here referred to spirit energy amplitude. For example, when Luo Feng controlled one flying blade, his strength in attacking with that blade could reach a certain number. And his limit was simultaneously controlling 78 blades, all 78 of them reaching max power. This made his amplitude 78. Back when Luo Feng was on Earth and he was still weak, he could simultaneously control about 10 or so blades at max power. Soul had the spirit energy amplitude. Body had the strength amplitude. The Undying Altar measured the strength amplitude. Normal strength amplitudes could reach 100. That would be perfectly controlling one's every bit of energy. When one reaches 100 in that aspect, that would be the normal limit. Same theory. The spirit energy amplitude, To be able to control 100 flying blades with every one of them reaching max power, that was the normal limit too. However, these are under normal circumstances. Like the golden horned beast and it using its body to attack, its normal strength amplitude could also reach 80 to 90. However, the moment it unleashes its ability strengthen, immediately it would jump several times, making the amplitude go over 100. Like deities of the world, the body's strength would rise a few times too, reaching a few hundred. And the golden horned beast's right claw, the moment it triggered the blood river energy, its power would greatly increase. The body's strength could be risen multiple times. In theory, 100 was the limit, however that was the normal limit. Through special techniques, treasures, all these could raise that limit. And these additions were incredibly valuable in the universe. Natural ability strengthen affected the body and soul, basically everything. The golden horned beast's soul amplitude was currently 78, however once it used its natural ability, its power would rise a few times over. And this supreme demon note manual was something like deities of the world from its memories, and even more powerful. Once one had great progress in deities of the world, it would raise one's powers by 27 times. However, supreme demon note manual was much stronger. This was an extreme inheritance that aimed at breaking all limits. What a mysterious anomaly. Even stronger than deities of the world, this is heavenly. Luo Feng opened his eyes and looked at the many levels of steps ahead of him, with a glance. They reached into space itself. He took a deep breath. With a step, he flew to the second flight. When he landed on the second flight, incredibly detailed technique immediately poured into his mind. Continued training. Day after day. Level after level. In this inheritance staircase that stretched to space, Luo Feng progressed. Actually, when he first began the process, he received information that once it started, it couldn't be stopped. He had to continuously proceed forward. The training itself was actually a torture of one's willpower and consciousness. The moment one was unable to withstand it, then, the inheritance would automatically end. In the vast universe, over 1 trillion years, hundreds of thousands of different life forms had all come to receive the inheritance. However, not a single one of them could finish the entire process. Who knows how long this thing will take? Opportunities like these don't come easy, I cannot miss it. Luo Feng was almost like a starving beggar eating a meal in a long time, madly immersed in his training. The more he trained, the more he felt his consciousness amplitude rise, quickly exceeding 100, this normal limit continued to rise further. It was heavenly. The more he trained, the more he understood that if this technique were to be exchanged for in the treasure trove of the virtual universe, it would be an exorbitant price. The treasure trove may not even have such a technique within. I only have this one chance to train. I'll train as much as I can, maybe I'll make great progress. No matter, if I don't give it a shot, how will I forgive myself? When Luo Feng was within the core of Demon Note Mountain receiving the inheritance, the assassins sent by official Po Yu from the 1000-star sect were troubled. 6 months later. Virtual universe, on an island specially for the 9-star warriors to stay. On that island, a group of palaces took up an extremely large space. It was the reputable headquarters of the 1000-star sect in the virtual universe. In a particular palace, God, 2 sector lords and 2 domain lords bowed respectfully. The shockingly beautiful Po Yu's long hair flowed, an absolute beauty. She sat in the throne, leaning on the back and looking below. You 4 haven't discovered the target. Yes, God. The 4 were nervous. The 4 were from the initial 6 sent, the other 2 had already died within Demon Note Mountain. Useless things. The absolute beauty snorted coldly. I'll give you another half a year of time. I hope you won't disappoint me. Yes. The 4 had cold sweat beading from their foreheads. Time passed and in an instant, they had already spent a year within Demon Note Mountain, and in that year, another domain lord of the group died. Because he was hit by demon notes, he unconsciously became a zombie. The final 3 survivors all left Demon Note Mountain. Congratulations, you 3 have survived for a year within Demon Note Mountain. You have the right to enter our virtual universe company. The troops stationed at Demon Note Mountain from the virtual universe company, the lowest status of the group, swiftly went to receive the 3 survivors. Va Yang and the other 1000-star sect warriors glanced at each other, helpless. They came to Demon Note Mountain only on Po Yu's orders. In truth, the 3 of them had no wishes to join the virtual universe company and become a lackey for others. Bring the 3 of them here. A voice resounded in that staff's ears. Yes, official Po Yu. The staff immediately brought Ba Yang and the others to her shrine. Deep in the shrine in a hall, Po Yu lay in the throne, her jade green tail meandered about in the throne, her eyes gazing down below at the shifty trio. God. The three knelt down. Po Yu waved her hand and immediately forced the space ring off the domain lord's fingers, forcefully breaking the soul imprint and retrieving the E9 grade laser gun. God, the target is only a universe level 9, and we haven't discovered him in a year, and he hasn't come out. It's very likely he was killed by others within. Or he was hit by the demon note and turned into a zombie. The strongest of the lot, Sector Lord level 9 Ba Yang spoke. Let's hope so. Po Yu nodded, her gaze sweeping past the three. Their eyes immediately became rigid. After which, Piu Tong, Piu Tong, Piu Tong, they fell on the floor, dead. However, you all know too much, you have to die. Po Yu said coldly, sending people to kill an important genius of the virtual universe company. The moment she was discovered, she, an official level undying, even if she wasn't killed, she would be locked in the space hell. A year. That punk should be 80 to 90% dead. Po Yu muttered softly, after which she smiled charmingly. The space around seemed to burst in colors suddenly. Po Yu was lazing about entirely in the throne, her white jade-like fingers gently tapping on the armrest, her gaze fixed on the three bodies below her. The space slightly warped and a space ripple with the power of origin laws of an undying covered the three bodies, with several cracks. They immediately became dust. That punk, he should be dead, however, his only the interest. Po Yu muttered softly. Suddenly, hurried footsteps came from outside. Teacher! Teacher! Worried shouts came from outside the palace. Come in. Po Yu gently frowned, speaking. The one leading that rushed in was one dressed in purple decorative armor. A handsome youth, his eyes were sunken in, pupils green, on his forehead there was an engraving. This handsome youth's expression was filled with pain and rage. He rushed in and knelt hard on the floor, shouting, Teacher, please save my hometown, Mo Cha planet. What's going on? Po Yu frowned. Your hometown Mo Cha planet is a powerful planet with quite a few undyings. Why do you need me to save it? Teacher, some of my clansmen unintentionally offended Mist Emperor's people, who'd expect the powerful Mist Emperor to come out personally and use his space techniques to place my entire planet, the entire planet, forced into his god country. The handsome youth was about to cry. Planet, the entire planet was forced into the god country. Even Po Yu was shocked. God country. That was the sole location of an undying. Sector lords had their internal world, undyings had their god countries. The moment their internal worlds collapsed, the sector lord would definitely die. The moment the god country collapsed, the weaker undyings would die. And some with techniques and treasures may survive, however their powers would be greatly reduced. To a point where they'd have no future. It could be said that the god country was half of the undying's life. The god country had many uses. The reason the undyings were powerful was because the god countries were powerful. In there, the undying's power would greatly rise, even though one could force an enemy into his god country, having his power rise much greater. It also however gives the enemy the chance to attack his god country. Hence, unless one had 100% guarantee, or was forced into a corner, very few would actually force an enemy into his god country. To force an entire planet in your planet, in Mist Emperor's god country, will have a very tragic end. Po Yu sat high in the throne looking down on her disciple. If it was simply destroying, he could easily use one punch to destroy it. However, he actually took the effort to place your planet into his god country. Unless he tortures it enough, he won't be satisfied. Just what did your clansmen do to offend him? Po Yu frowned. A small matter. The handsome youth knelt there and shouted tragically, there's always been some friction before, however the underlings of Mist Emperor would usually handle these small things. Who'd expect him to personally make a move, forcing the entire planet into the god country? Teacher, please save my planet. The handsome youth shouted. I cannot do anything. Po Yu shook her head. Teacher. The handsome youth's eyes were filled with tears. Po Yu looked at her disciple kneeling below, saying softly, I'll try. After which she closed her eyes, sending a thread of her consciousness into the virtual universe network. She looked for a good friend to speak to Mist Emperor. After a while. Leave? Po Yu opened her eyes and said. Teacher. The handsome youth looked up at Po Yu in the throne, his expression filled with hope. It's your clansmen's fault they offended Mist Emperor when he's in the worst mood. Po Yu frowned and ordered, no one can save them. The handsome youth gripped his fist. Leave? Po Yu ordered coldly. Yes. The handsome youth didn't dare speak another word. He feared offending this cold teacher of his, thus he left respectfully. Only Po Yu was left in the huge palace. She frowned, muttering to herself, no wonder he's so angry. His powerful teacher actually got a slot in the Demon Note Mountain inheritance for him, and someone else actually took it. This wait will be another 10,081 eras before he gets another chance. If it were me, I'd be angry too. Only thing is, just who was it that took his slot? Within the God Country. An endless ocean, within were fragments of ice. There floated dark green majestic palaces. In the center of them was a 1,000,000-kilometer tall dark green statue, Mist Emperor's statue. In the ocean over 100 million kilometer away from the palaces, was a planet, with a diameter of over 30,000 kilometers floating. From it flew out many silhouettes that knelt in mid-air, constantly begging. Mist Emperor. Spare us. Mist Emperor. Spare our Mo Cha planet. Mist Emperor. We have wronged. We have wronged. A few Undyings and Sector Lords were kneeling in mid-air, their voices booming all about. At this time, within their home, Mo Cha planet, there would occasionally be lightning flashes or flames about, sometimes snow and blizzards, or even hail that dropped like countless blades shooting down. It was simply a nightmare. Mist Emperor. With dark green floating long hair, a square face, his eyes even madder than a space beast, he wore an exquisite long robe, and stood in mid-air, coldly looking at the torture he was dishing out to Mo Cha planet. Spare you. Wronged. He laughed suddenly. It's too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. His voice echoed constantly through the ears of the Mo Cha warriors. The Undyings and Sector Lords were all in extreme pain, regret and hatred. However, they couldn't do anything. Mist Emperor, as an Emperor-level Undying, was too powerful. The power his God Country held was even more shocking. Just the God Country pressure alone made the Undyings unable to resist. 10,081 eras, over 100 million years. From my birth till now, this entire long period has only been 12,000 eras. To make me wait so long. The more he thought about it, the more he raged. He gripped his fists even tighter, causing the space to tremble so hard it felt like it was about to split apart. Just who is the bastard that took my slot? Who? Mist Emperor raged within, and that planet floating in mid-air had an even more tragic fate ahead. In the vast universe, within the virtual universe company-controlled absolute beginning region, Demon Mountain. Within one of the 32 inheritance palaces of Demon Note Mountain, Luo Feng was focused on receiving the inheritance. How would he know he'd taken Mist Emperor's slot? Even to the Emperor-level Undyings, 10,081 eras was a very long period of time. He had only lived for a total of 12,000 eras. It was akin to a 30-year-old preparing to get married. However, God ordered, don't rush, wait another 30 years, marry when you are 60. Who wouldn't be anxious? Who wouldn't be angry? Within the inheritance palace, black mist engulfed the area, the many layers of stairs extended upwards. In theory, a space like this with only a few tens of kilometers in length and width wasn't shocking. However, the distance Luo Feng saw far exceeded over 1,000 kilometers. This effect of having a world within a grain of sand didn't really shock Luo Feng. After all, something a Sector Lord was capable of. It wasn't strange the absolute being that left behind the inheritance palace couldn't do. Finished another part. Luo Feng opened his eyes, face filled with glee. He became a beam of light and headed to a higher level. The moment he stepped on the flight of stairs, the deeper training methods once again poured in. Simultaneously a voice resounded within the space. Luo Feng turned to look. Mysterious words appeared in the space beside, similar to the style of words on the stone tablet before. Even though Luo Feng didn't recognize them, he instantly understood their meaning. Beginner. He was shocked. The summary of the words were: life form that have chosen to receive the inheritance, you've already received 1/10 of the first part of the Demon Note inheritance. The Demon Note General Inheritance has a total of 3 parts. To be able to completely finish the first part will earn you the beginner title and receive the beginner reward. The end of the first part is in that distant temple. The beginner reward is right there. Work hard. Rumble. The stairs in which he stood on extended far away, and at this time it was still endless, level after level. Finally, far, far away, at the end of it, in that distant space, there was a temple of which was hard to see clearly with the naked eye. The end of the first part. Beginner reward. Luo Feng looked at the distant temple, thinking, I've only been receiving the inheritance for about a year, about 300 levels of it. And I've only completed 1/10 of the first part. Then this first part, wouldn't it have over 3,000 levels? The first part had over 3,000 levels. A total of 3 parts. If the 2 later parts were the same, there would be over 10k levels. To finish all the stairs and finish the inheritance, how long would that take? Luo Feng couldn't help but be shocked. Saying is one thing. However, in truth, over 1 trillion years since Demon Mountain existed, with hundreds of thousands receiving the inheritance, yet none had ever fully completed it. Thinking so much is useless. I'll first complete the first part and become a beginner, then I'll receive the reward in that temple. Luo Feng was anticipating, this inheritance palace sure is something, the prize definitely wouldn't be bad. Who knows what it is, treasure? Weapon? Armor? He didn't think anymore, continuing to immerse himself in training. 1 year's worth of work, even just a part of the inheritance alone made him feel that his power had risen greatly already. This inheritance was indeed a heavenly technique. If Luo Feng were to give it a price, it would truly be a priceless treasure. More than even the entire time-space scribbles. I really have to thank Mo Luo for that kick. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Part 2 end here.